Welcome to Truths from God. Today, we're exploring a verse that has lifted countless souls through some of life's darkest valleys, Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. This isn't just a motivational quote to slap on a coffee mug. It's a divine promise, a spiritual anchor, a blueprint for what it means to receive supernatural strength when the world leaves us drained and discouraged. Now the verse reads, "But they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles, they shall run and not be weary, they shall walk and not faint." What a visual, right? Just picture that, soaring high above the storms, catching the wind of God's promises like an eagle, untouchable by the chaos below. Running, not collapsing, walking, yet never fainting. This verse captures the incredible reality that when we trust in God, we're not just scraping by, we're being lifted, renewed, and sustained in ways we couldn't manage on our own. This message is for the weary soul, the one who's tired of striving, tired of waiting, tired of being tired. And if that's you, stay with me, because over the next few minutes, we're going to unpack this verse in detail. We'll explore its historical setting, the original Hebrew, the deeper meanings behind the metaphors, and how this promise still speaks directly into our lives today. By the end, you won't just know Isaiah 40 verse 31, you'll feel it pulsing through your spirit like fresh wind in your lungs. Let's get started. Before we can fully understand the power of Isaiah 40 verse 31, we need to know when and why it was written. This verse wasn't delivered during a moment of national pride or spiritual victory, it came during exile. Deep, painful, identity-shattering exile. The Israelites had been conquered by Babylon, their temple destroyed, their city burned. They were scattered in a foreign land, wrestling with feelings of abandonment, confusion, and grief. And in that emotional wilderness, God speaks through the prophet Isaiah. Now, this part of Isaiah, chapters 40 through 55, is often referred to by scholars as Deutero-Isaiah. Think of it like a second movement in a symphony. It's written specifically to a broken, displaced people, yet it doesn't scold them. Instead, it sings to them words of comfort, words of redemption, a promise of return, and a reminder that God's covenant had not been cancelled by their circumstances. Isaiah is essentially saying, yes, you're in exile. Yes, the world feels like it's collapsed around you. But God isn't finished. He's still writing your story, and the next chapter is one of restoration. And this sets the tone for the entire verse we're focusing on. Isaiah 40 verse 31 isn't random. It's carefully placed in the middle of a message designed to lift heads, strengthen hearts, and call people back to faith, even when life feels like a spiritual drought. So when we hear, "They who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength," we're not hearing idealism. We're hearing survival. We're hearing hope reborn in the ashes. We're hearing God's unwavering faithfulness to a people who thought the story was over. And that makes all the difference. Now let's talk about this word, wait, because in our modern world, waiting often feels passive, even frustrating. Waiting in line, waiting for a text, waiting for answers that never seem to come. But that's not the kind of waiting Isaiah's talking about here. In the original Hebrew, the word used is kava, and kava doesn't mean twiddling your thumbs or sitting around in despair. No, it means to hope, to expect, to bind together like a cord that's wound tightly. It's not sitting back, it's leaning in. To wait on the Lord is to live with a deep, active trust. It's the kind of hope that stretches toward God even when you don't feel Him. It's expecting Him to move, even when you don't see evidence yet. It's wrapping your heart around His promises so tightly that you refuse to unravel, even when the world pulls hard. This kind of waiting isn't easy. It goes against everything our instant gratification culture trains us to value. We want answers now. We want healing fast. We want victory without the valley. But God's timing isn't like ours. He doesn't rush, but He's never late. And waiting on Him becomes an act of holy rebellion against a world obsessed with immediacy. So hear this, when Isaiah says, "They who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength," is describing a kind of sacred patience that's fueled by trust, not timeline. It's not passive resignation, it's spiritual discipline. The kind that says, even when I don't feel strong, I know the one who is, and I'm staying tethered to Him. In that place, right there, is where the renewal begins. Let's dive deeper into that word, renew. Isaiah doesn't say God will simply hand us a fresh cup of coffee or a quick pick-me-up. He says those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. Now that Hebrew verb used for renew doesn't mean replaced like trading in your old phone. It means to exchange, to grow, to sprout again. It's like putting on a fresh set of wings after yours have worn out mid-flight. And notice this, God doesn't promise to remove the hardship. He promises to sustain you through it. That's a huge shift in perspective. We often pray for God to take away the burden, and sometimes He does. But more often, He gives us something even better, strength to endure it, and grace to grow through it. We see this echoed in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. God says to Paul, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." In other words, God isn't waiting for us to become strong before He works. He meets us in the weakness. That's where His strength shines brightest. This kind of renewal isn't just about your muscles or your stamina. It's holistic. God renews the body, yes, but also the mind that's overwhelmed, the heart that's anxious, and the spirit that's discouraged. He breathes energy where we've run dry. He brings clarity where there's confusion, and He plants hope in the middle of exhaustion. So the next time you feel like you've got nothing left to give, don't panic. That's not the end of your strength. It might just be the beginning of God's. Now comes one of the most iconic images in all of Scripture: they shall mount up with wings like eagles. Let's slow that down for a second and really let the picture form in your mind. An eagle doesn't flap frantically. It doesn't exhaust itself trying to fly. It spreads its wings and rises effortlessly on the power of the wind. And that's exactly what God is offering here. When you wait on the Lord, when you bind yourself to Him in hopeful trust, He doesn't just give you a little boost. He gives you lift. He raises you above your situation, not by removing the storm, but by helping you rise above it. Like an eagle that climbs higher to escape the turbulence, God teaches you how to soar when everything below feels chaotic and overwhelming. Now, keep in mind, eagles are known for their sharp vision and high perspective. From the sky, they can see things you'd never catch from the ground. And when God lifts you, He doesn't just give you strength, He gives you clarity. You start to see your situation differently. You realize the thing that once felt like it was crushing you is actually beneath you. That's the power of divine perspective. And one more thing. Eagles are also solitary flyers. They don't travel in flocks like pigeons. They soar alone, focused, unbothered. Sometimes, when God calls you to mount up like an eagle, He's also calling you out of the noise, away from the crowd, so He can speak to you in stillness and raise you in ways others might not understand. So the next time life pulls you down, remember, your strength isn't found in more effort. It's found in more trust. Spread your wings. Let the Spirit carry you. You weren't made to crawl through this life. You were made to fly. Next up, they shall run and not be weary. Now, running is no small thing, especially if you're out of shape, like some of us after a long weekend with too much dessert. But this verse isn't talking about a casual jog in the park. It's talking about spiritual endurance, the kind of running where you're chasing after God's purpose in your life, even when the path is uphill, the air is thin, and your legs are screaming to quit. And what does Isaiah say? That if you wait on the Lord, if you're trusting in Him, you'll run without growing weary. Not because you're superhuman, not because you're naturally strong, but because His strength is carrying you forward. This is the kind of divine stamina that shows up when you're tired but still showing up to pray. When you're confused but still clinging to God's promises. When life hits you hard, and you say, "I may not have much left, but I'm not stopping here." Let me tell you, there are seasons in life when God will call you to run, to press ahead with purpose and urgency. Maybe He's stirring something in your heart, calling you to start that ministry, mend that relationship, share that testimony, or take that bold step of obedience. And when He does, you may feel inadequate, unqualified, straight up exhausted. But that's the moment when His word rings loud: they shall run and not be weary. God doesn't ask you to run in your own power. He invites you to run in His. And here's something beautiful. God doesn't just care that you finish the race. He cares how you run it. Not rushed, not burned out, but with grace-driven endurance, full of faith, full of focus, full of breath that only He can give. So run, not because you're ready, but because He is. Now, here's the part of the verse that often gets overshadowed: they shall walk and not faint. It sounds simple, right? Walk, don't faint. But sometimes, walking is the hardest thing to do. Running feels glorious. Soaring sounds divine. But walking? That's the daily grind. The ordinary obedience. The moments where no one's watching and the finish line feels miles away. And yet, God says this too is holy. Because life isn't always about the mountaintop moments or the spiritual highs. Most of our journey is made up of small, steady steps. One foot in front of the other. Waking up, praying again, showing up again, trusting again, forgiving again, choosing to believe God's promises, even when they don't yet look like reality. And that's where real faith shines. Walking and not fainting means you're still moving forward even when you're not seeing fireworks. It means you're learning to trust God in the quiet, in the waiting, in the normal Tuesday afternoons when nothing feels especially holy, but your faithfulness still matters. It reminds me of Psalm 23, where David says, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil." Notice, it's a walk, not a sprint. God doesn't always rush us through the valley. Sometimes He walks with us through it, step by step, making us stronger with every mile. So if today feels slow, if you're not soaring, and you're not running, don't be discouraged. You're still walking, and if God says you won't faint, you can trust that promise. Because walking with God, even when it's hard, is never wasted. Now let's bring this ancient promise into our world today. We live in an age of exhaustion. Our calendars are packed, our minds are racing, and our hearts are overwhelmed. Anxiety is at an all-time high. Burnout has become normal. Families are stressed. People are constantly chasing something: our approval, success, rest, meaning. And yet, we often come up empty. But Isaiah 40 verse 31 speaks into that exact chaos. It tells us that we don't have to carry it all, that we were never designed to live life running on fumes, pushing through in our own strength. God isn't asking you to be perfect. He's offering to renew you. When you feel anxious, He offers peace. When you feel weak, He offers strength. When you feel lost, He offers direction. When you feel invisible, He sees you. Waiting on the Lord today means stepping out of the noise. It means pausing long enough to say, God, I can't do this without you. It's making space for Him to breathe new life into your spirit. Before the meeting, before the meltdown, before the millionth email. This verse is your reminder that God doesn't just care about your soul. He cares about your energy, your emotions, your endurance. He wants to restore every part of you, not just on Sundays, but right in the middle of your daily struggles. So if you're running low, you're in the perfect place for God to fill you up. So, what's the takeaway? It's this: strength doesn't come from trying harder, it comes from trusting deeper. Isaiah 40 verse 31 isn't about being superhuman. It's about being surrendered. It's not about proving your worth. It's about receiving God's power in your weakness. The promise isn't reserved for the elite, the holy, or the already strong. It's for the weary, the tired, the ones who feel like they've got nothing left. God is saying to you, let me carry you. Let me renew you. Let me lift you higher than your own strength ever could. So here's a question to sit with. Are you running in your own strength, or are you waiting on His? Because there's a massive difference. One will leave you drained. The other will fill you with power you didn't even know you had. God's not asking you to be perfect. He's asking you to be present, to wait, to trust, and in doing so, to receive a kind of renewal the world can't explain, but your soul will never forget. So today, don't push harder. Press in deeper. Let Him renew you. As we wrap up, remember this: Isaiah 40 verse 31 isn't just a beautiful verse, it's a living promise. God is not only willing to renew your strength, He longs to. Every single day. Not just once, not just when things get really bad, but continually. Just like the sun rises every morning, His mercies are new every time you come to Him. You were never meant to live on spiritual autopilot. You were made to soar, to run, to walk faithfully, with God right beside you, renewing you every step of the way. So today, speak this verse over your life. Let it fill the cracks in your faith. Let it calm your anxious thoughts. And let it anchor your spirit in the truth. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. And you are not out of strength, because the one who gives it is never empty. And if this message blessed you, do us a favor, like this video, leave a comment below, and subscribe to the channel for more weekly truth that strengthens your walk with God. Also, don't forget to follow us on TikTok and Instagram for daily encouragement and visual Bible insights. Thanks for watching Truths from God. May your strength be renewed, today and every day after.